Do you have something that you truly, relentlessly desire, despite your state in life? Is there something else that you would go to completely to the end of the world to get? Well, luckily for you, there's a way to achieve what you're looking for, and you won't need to go to the end of the world to get it, but you'll need to go somewhere, and the place may be too far out of reach for some. It's not far away, closer than one may believe, but there are requirements that some individuals may not meet. First, whatever it is that you seek, know that you must seriously desire what you want. In your eyes, it should be something that you need. If you begin the journey without the proper state of mind, you'll surely fail, as it's almost impossible to turn back once the journey starts. The second requirement is that you'll need a vehicle of some sorts. Now, most use a car as it's the most comfortable choice, but a select few have used small motorized vehicles such as ATVs or motorcycles. But this has been proven to be quite difficult, as the conditions of the journey have been proven to be quite bothersome. Do not use a vehicle that is too large or noticeable, as you'll need the cover of night to be most safe. Also, while any sort of car will do, you may not choose the most cherished or expensive vehicle. You can take your slick, new black Mercedes for a drive if you like, but don't expect it to come out in the most pristine state. Make sure your vehicle is completely fueled before beginning this drive. The first task to accomplish is to locate the road. It doesn't have a name, it's not on a map, and it technically doesn't even exist. It will only show up if you're looking for it at the right time. And you'll only spot it if you know what you're looking for. Finally, you must be alone during your journey. Don't think you'll be able to go with a group of your best teenage friends and enjoy a night of debauchery. Did you think? You were mistaken, my friend. Now, if the prospect of not being able to go with a group scares you, well, this next tidbit may be your final nail in the coffin on whether you decide to go on this journey or not. It must be night when you begin. Like the room I'm recording in, it must be cold and dark. Choose the time of night where you believe the roads are the least populated. Drive to any area that is just a stretch of road surrounded by wood. Here's where you'll want to start paying close attention. If you're looking for the road, it will turn up eventually, but you'll need to search for the road's hint in order to pull down to the right one. Once you're close, you will see or feel signs, but what the signs are will depend on what it is that you desire. For example, if you search wealth, you may spot shimmers on empty branches of trees, as if they resembled the shine of gold or diamonds. If you seek love, you might begin seeing rose petals slowly dance in the light breeze, blowing in the road's direction. If you seek revenge, you might sense an ever-growing feeling of heat or anger in your body as you approach. Just know what it is that you really want, and you'll have no problem finding the turn. Once you're sure you found the revealed road, take a deep breath and turn down it. At this point, you have officially started down this nameless road, which begins to bring you through the 11 miles. These next 11 miles will be leading to you to whatever it is that you seek. Each mile will be testing your desire, and it will expose if you really want what you're searching for. Now, before you go any further, stop the car and be wary of a few advisements. Do not turn on the radio during the drive. Do not use the phone during the drive. Reception will cut off anyway. Do not open the windows during the drive, and make sure that they are closed before you continue. If you're riding on a vehicle without windows or a top, then prepare for the worst, as the odds are heavily against you. Do not attempt to leave your vehicle at any time. You will never want to exceed 30 miles per hour, unless if you're desperate to make it through the section of road. And most importantly, As if any drive, buckle up. Safety first, right? Feel free to prepare and make sure that you're ready. Once the road has been entered, time has stopped, so you don't need to worry about losing the night. Though you may not notice, you're actually not in your own world anymore, so take one last moment to realize that. Once the first mile's over, there's no turning back. And if you ponder turning back at this point at all for any reason, know that you shouldn't even be on this journey in the first place. Once all is done, continue on down the road. On the first mile, you won't see much change. The road will pass through mostly woods, with a few miles being an exception. The air will turn a bit colder, in which you might want to turn on your heating system if the vehicle has one. Trust me, you don't want to take your eyes off the road later. Take some time to calm any uneasiness by admiring the night sky. You'll see it's completely lined with stars and new constellations that may seem alien to you. More than whatever you believe is possible. If the weather was cloudy beforehand, you'll notice that the sky is now clear. On the second mile, the air will become even colder. This is the primarily reason why traveling in an open vehicle is very difficult, sometimes even dangerous. With each mile, the air will drop in temperature, and even if the season should be warm, the air will become too cold to bear, even with the heat on. Your only option is to speed up. With each mile on the road also becoming more complex, taking more turns, and showing an increasing amount of road hazards, be sure to always be focused on the road in front of you in order to avoid many bumps or obstacles as possible. Hitting a few rocks and potholes won't hamper your progress much, but you want to be in the best condition for as long as possible. If your vehicle is forced to stop because of damage, then there is nothing left you can do but eventually freeze to death. On the third mile, you'll begin to spot silhouettes of human figures lining the trees. Pay no attention to them, even if they seem to get closer. It will be hard to resist peeking at their unnerving, distant appearance. Know that they will reveal themselves later. At this mile, the road has become dirt, if you weren't driving on dirt to begin with. Keep to the center of the path. It will become narrow and wide at random intervals. And one quick side note, you should never attempt to turn around. Despite my previous warnings, you'll be left on whichever path that you were on, and it will never end. And you'll simply run out of fuel eventually, and left to freeze to death in cold conditions. Now, understand that this is a one-way road. As I said, turning around, even if you manage to get your car to turn around in such narrow conditions past mile 1, will result in a never-ending road. On the fourth mile, you'll not only be able to see more of these figures, but you'll begin to sense and hear them. In the back of your mind, a very faint, unintelligible whisper will begin to echo. These will come and go, but be sure to know that you can't stop them. If they become bothersome or distracting, try and tune them out by thinking of what you desire. Attempting to listen and determine what voices are saying what will only attract more to you, and you'll want to be as far away from them as you possibly can. They'll be closer later, so there's no use bringing them near you this early. On the fifth mile, you'll come to a clearing. The lining of trees to your left will disappear to reveal a lake with no end, just a beginning. A great moon over the water. The illumination from the moon will be so spectacular that the vehicle's headlights will no longer be required. Restrain yourself from gazing at it. If you look at its lights for even more than a few seconds, the road in front of you will end, throwing your vehicle into the water, in which you'll freeze to death in minutes. The voices will be gone for this mile, but don't rejoice yet. They'll be back. On the 6th mile, take into account that you are more than halfway done, so congratulate yourself on this. Despite the progress, you may lose hope here. The stars will have disappeared at this point, leaving the night sky an empty black abyss. The clearing will have ended, leading you back into the woods. The only light that you'll have or be provided with is your vehicle's headlights. but they will flicker from time to time, even if you're sure that they're in perfect working order. This is only there to test your resolve. If you have a radio in the vehicle, it will turn on here automatically. If you didn't turn off beforehand, it will produce an overwhelming screech that will send you off the path, and once again you'll be left stranded, ready to freeze to death. A calm voice will then begin to speak to you about your greatest fears, what it is you're horrified of in your life. It will speak in a way that will cause you to visualize the words in your mind. So, the simple solution to this is to not listen to it. But if you begin to comprehend what it's saying, the horrors will prove to be too much for you to stay on the road safely. Attempting to turn off the radio will prove to be no use. Speed up if you need to, just keep your mind off the voices as long as you can. As you approach the end of the mile, the voice will fade out of the speakers, leaving your ears at peace. For now. On the 7th mile, the voices from the figures will return. It won't sound like a whisper this time though, but more like distant screams, glowing closer and closer with each second that passes by. At some point in this mile, you'll hear one of them right in your ear as if they were right behind you. This is because one of the figures have found their way into your vehicle. Do not turn around. Their face will be so horrified that it will shock you into a paralysis, leading you off the road. If you don't draw attention to it, it will become uninterested and, hopefully, it'll leave. These beings are said to be the ones who have traveled down this road before but were not successful. They live. They are living reminders of their existence, of their suffering, in the darkness with their only goal to bring other travelers down with them. It has been said from experience that these things can physically harm you. So as long as they don't cause you to wreck, you should be fine. On the 8th mile, slow down if you're going too fast. The road has very sharp turns which, if overshot, will throw the vehicle into a pit through the trees. And take note that the cold is near fatal here. If you were to have a glass or a bottle of liquid in the vehicle, it will freeze into a solid in mere seconds. The heating system will have become completely obsolete. Your headlights will flicker more and more, sometimes even shutting off for a few seconds. You should brake if this happens, but do not completely stop. The figures will be following you at this point, and you shouldn't stop for too long. They will surround you and trap your vehicle. More of their screams will be heard from outside of your doors, sometimes even the sound of maniacal laughter. Their hands will claw at your windows, desperate to reach and feel something living. Do not look at you. They won't block your windshield. Or that will be the last thing that'll happen if you were to stop. You'd also kind of become trapped with them if you were to stop. If you don't make it from there, pray that it's the freezing point that ends you. On the 9th mile, your vehicle will stall, the headlights will shut off, and so will the other systems inside. Nothing you can do can prevent this. What you need to do is close your eyes immediately and attempt to restart the vehicle. Keep your eyes closed as the figures would have surely surrounded you at this point, and staring at any one of them will send you into paralysis. The starting of the vehicle will frighten them, and they will try to back away temporarily. This will give you the chance to start moving forward again. If you begin to hear the windows crack from their struggle, don't lose focus. The beings can alter the vehicle, but remember, they still do not have the strength to physically affect you, at least at this point. You'll hear nothing but voices and things of rampaging in your mind, as there could be anywhere from a dozen to 100 after you now. Once you started the vehicle, floor it. Floor it as long as you can stay on the path, just floor it. When the mile's done, the beings will retreat. On the 10th mile, the voices will begin to stop. If you were to look in your rearview mirror, do not actually do this, you'll see them following you, but not as if they were chasing, but as if they were watching you, as if they were seeing you off. As you go down the 10th mile, the road will become much smoother, as if you were back on the 1st mile. The figures will be lining the sides of the path ahead of you. They won't be after you, but they'll watch as you pass. Some have theorized that the beings become impressed here, that you have come so long and so far into the journey that to get what you desire, that they are simply impressed by it. Now, this is false. They are not impressed, but they are happy. They are happy that you're about to approach the next mile. They're happy because you're most likely going to be joining them and be able to tell them your tale of your death. On the 11th, the final mile, everything in your vehicle will lose power, as did in the 9th. The vehicle would normally be immobile, but you'll still be moving. An unknown force will be pulling you forward in the end of the darkness, and you will see a glowing red light up ahead, as if it were a light at the end of a tunnel. Close your eyes. Cover them. Do whatever it takes to make sure that you do not see what you're going through. Covering your ears would also be helpful, but keeping your eyes covered should be a higher priority. The red light is another clearing, but there is no moon, no lake, no nothing this time. Once you have entered, the unrelenting, unconceivable noises will start to berate your ears from all directions. No amount of bravery, no amount of conditioning can spare you from these sounds. The cold will turn into merciless heat, burning all parts of the vehicle. You will feel the illusion of flesh being burned from your bones, that every part of you is being destroyed as you travel through the screams of audible suffering. As long as you keep your eyes closed and resist the urge to see where you are, you should be able to survive through the suffering. This will last for a total of 31 seconds, but many fail to keep their vision closed during that time and are left to the worst fate of the road. Where is the mile located? Those who have survived do not know. Some have named it the transmission from hell, but whether hell is there or even if this road is a part of it is debatable. After the final mile, the power will return. Stop the vehicle. Take a moment to possibly regain some of your sanity. Let the screaming in your ears begin to fade, and know that you have nearly completed your journey with the hardest task overcame. Breathe, and begin to drive forward again. After only 1 kilometer, your vehicle will arrive at a dead end. Stop here. Don't attempt to move again. Nothing will happen right at this second. But do not be disappointed, young traveler. Relax, close your eyes, and imagine in your mind what it is that you have desired this entire time, what it is that you went through hell and back to get. It will most likely still be the same as when you entered, but with some, this desire may actually change through making it to this part of the journey. Think about what it is that you went through, and such a terrifying, difficult means to acquire, and imagine possessing the things that you require in your hands. Once you've completely visualized this, slowly open your eyes. You will then find yourself at the beginning of the unnamed road where you first began. This may confuse you, but know that you are finished. Your task is done. Your mind will then turn to your reward. If what you is that desired was, well, material, check your back seat or in the trunk. If the object is small enough, it might already be in your pocket. If what you have desired is not material, then do not be disappointed if the change is not immediate. Turn back from where you came from and you'll find whatever it is that you desired in your life that you wanted. If you wanted to find love, well, you'll have found love in your dreams. You'll find the perfect thing. You may have gained a unnatural, unimaginable power. You may have put your most hated enemy in the most satisfying revenge possible. You will have no doubt that you have gained what you've deserved. So now that your task is done, what is the catch? Is your vehicle cursed? Is there something that you're about to lose? Is your death imminent? The answer is no. Of course not. You've done the challenge. You proved that you're worthy of whatever you desired. As stated before, the sounds of the 11th mile will continue to exist in your mind, potentially causing some vivid, unnatural nightmares. But these should prove to be nothing compared to what you've gained. At least if you're smart. Now, one last question. Is there something else that you desire? Are you not satisfied? After all that, are you left black? And are you left blank in your mind? Are you empty? Are you left right back where you started? Well, there's something I should mention. The road is right there in front of you. So, are you up for another drive? Because if so, buckle up and just move forward. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the 11 miles. Now, the reason why I picked this story was simply because it looked a lot like the story, which is one of my favorite of all time, The Devil's Game. It's similarly formatted and, well, treats its audience as such, although there is no reveal on who the ultimate narrator is or anything like that. It's a fun little romp through what it means to get what you want, and to be frank, it does give up some horrifying imagery. Really, this is one of the better stories I've narrated, although I can't really put my finger on why. If you're making a story that is a game-like story or a bargain deal type story, this is the way you go about it. Simply give your audience a realistic goal, and maybe try to make it seem that it could be something that they could really do. All I know is that after I'm done with this, I think I got a little drive ahead of me. So with that being said, I'm That Creepy Reading, signing off.